Hey, Jay here. We're going to give you some tips on installing a rear sprocket. We have our Super Sprox. It's a 51 tooth stealth sprocket we're going to install on this KTM wheel. This is a very common size for us. Aluminum and then steel. For off-road bikes, these last really well. If you're riding a 450 motocross bike, that could even be a really good sprocket for you. Taking it off will be very similar to how we're going to install it right now. The only thing I would add is you might want to add a little heat to the nut right here on each side. That'll loosen the Loctite before you install. Some of the basic tools we use, I like to have a Allen wrench set up like this, and whoever assists me, which is usually my wife or my son, or in this case it's going to be a Rado. So whoever assists me can hold this. It works really well. And then I like to use, if I can get away with it, if it fits, is a boxed in or a crow's type foot wrench. This is a 12 millimeter in this case, and this allows you to get a good grip on there without potentially rounding off the nut. So we'll use that right now. The other trick we're going to do right now is I install Loctite. And I'm using 224, which is a low Loctite, on this surface right here and on the threads, just like that. And I'll do that on each one, and the reason I do that is so that it kind of glues in place to this surface and makes up any imperfections between this bolt and the sprocket. So this concave and convex part can kind of glue together up here. Since we've been doing it this way, so I'd say for about 15 years, and we've never had a failure, knock on wood. Before that, we did see some. These bolts, like race teams, will only use these bolts once or twice. That's why you want to be careful of stretching out these bolts. Okay, so at this point, now I'm ready to, if you have washers, some of them will have washers, but now I'm ready to, I just get under here like this, and I'll tighten this by hand, and just get it started just like so, and I'll do that all the way around. And then once I get all these started, then I'm ready for an assistant. In this case, I'm even going to take some help from Slovakia. Okay, so at this point I have my assistant start spinning and tightening, and they just go to where it kind of stops. And they just have to hold it steady. They don't have to be real strong. In this case, we have somebody that's way too strong for this, but just hold it steady. And then the person on the bottom here, I position my wrench so I have room to pull it, and then you don't need to really crank this thing because you're going to stretch out those bolts. Now we're going to go over here to the next one. Now a lot of guys like to do a star pattern. I don't know that it's critical because they're centering. This thing's getting centered on those nuts, on the sprocket bolts. So Rado's going to go down to where it stops, and then I'm going to tighten it up right here, and just like right there, yeah. It's pretty good. Okay. So then I'm going to do it again here, and I get my wrench under here, and then I move it all the way this way so I have room to be able to tighten it up. When he hits stop, it's nice when you have somebody to help you do this, and you're on a tire stand like this. It makes it way easier than trying to do it on the ground or on a bucket. Okay, so now Rado's going to keep, and whoever's, like Rado's doing this, my wrench, I want to keep it from being the person driving here, they stay nice and centered. Okay, you're good? Then I'm going to tighten up again, and that's kind of all it takes. You don't have to be really way tight on this thing. Just good and snug. They're locking nuts, and I can't overstress how important it is. You don't ever want these coming loose. It's very important that they don't come loose, and what I tell guys, one of their best procedures when they're washing bikes and going through a bike after they wash it is to check a wrench on these nuts just to make sure that everything is good, because these come loose, it can wipe out your whole wheel. Okay, so we've made our lap around. Okay, so that's a simple deal. That's all there is to it. When I would go to remove this, like I said, I would probably just get a little bit of heat on a torch and hit the nut and the head here real quick, just a second or so on each, and then you can have your wrench down here while your assistant's just holding at the top, and you can break it loose, and then they can back it all the way off. So that's how we take it off. So that's a good install. Super Sprocket Stealth Sprocket. Hopefully that helps you out.